guess we're in now then, yeah. We're in.
Yeah, yes,
Sick.
indeed.
In the building.
Sick. We have the legend, the man, the myth, the green screen king. The green screen. We can call him that now, innit? He's got the title.
I'm wearing green as well, just to prop that up.
I knew he would come on with that strip on, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. The guy come with the Spurs kit as well.
We can talk about Spurs for an hour if you want.
No, let's not do that today.
That's exciting, bro. I know absolutely nothing about football, right? And just to put it in context, last time I was into football, Ruud Gullit played for Chelsea, and I think Peter Schmeichel was Manchester United's goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's going back a bit.
I mean, they were good times, not for Spurs, but football in general.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's lost its way a little bit now. Yeah, Dubl. Like we can't have these conversations with Dubl because he just has no idea. Whenever I chat to him about football, he's like, I fucking hate football.
Oh, but if I buy you a Spurs kit, though, would you wear it?
If it looked good, I'd wear it. I don't care.
Of course it looks good, bro. Look at me. Look, you got the Volt on the sides as well. I mean, come on, bro. Like, don't worry about it. We'll get you one of these.
Was you with Nike last season?
Yeah, last season and the season before.
Yeah, that's a nice kit. Is that the away strip, third kit?
This is the second kit. Yeah, I think there's a yellow third kit coming if the rumours are true.
I'm going to put it out there as well. I've seen Arsenal's. Is it a third kit or it might be a training kit? It was like a pastel yellow and like blues. Yeah, it's fire, man. United kits are so shit right now. What's going on?
Yeah, Stylus, I know you're not asking me to agree that anything that Arsenal do is good, bro, because that won't happen. I know it's only midday, but I'm not getting caught slipping just yet.
Oh, bro, flipping heck. Well, we've got Andy P in the building. Andy P.
Thanks for having me, guys. I've enjoyed watching your podcast a few times. I'm looking forward to checking the Shorty Blitz one out. Actually, I haven't listened to that yet, and he's a hero of mine. So that
that was actually sick. I seen a tweet this morning, Dubl, about the finger cuts, the vinyls.
The cute. Andy knows. You must know about that struggle as well. Looking through, you remember looking through the vinyl box. And you'd mash up all your cuticles on the vinyls.
Especially when you got delicate hands like these, like they get ripped to pieces.
Exactly.
The longest fingers. I feel like that's only relatable to like the old school kids, man. Like now it's just click a button. They don't know the pain that we had to go through, guys.
Well, I was never really too deep into the vinyl era anyway. Like when I started playing out in clubs, I mean, I was always taking crates of records with me, but there typically was some kind of tray CD player there as well. And when I was younger, kind of starting out, the way that I'd be getting most of my gigs was by doing anything I could get my hands on, which would be predominantly like 16th, 17th, 18th birthday parties, like things like events for families or whatnot. So I'd play all types of music. So I'd have all my hip hop and R&B on records, which is why I bring my records for me. But if I had to play like all kinds of really commercial poppy stuff and whatnot, I'd be playing it off of burnt CDs via some trace CD players and whatnot.
How do you feel about doing that? Like, especially back then, how did you feel about it? Because was DJing, like you said, you would kind of just take anything and everything just to get in the door and get moving. When you were doing like the real commercial stuff, was it soul destroying and kind of, I can't wait until I get to where I want to be? Or do you just love creating a party?
But that's it. I just love creating a party. So like, and I think that was probably molded from the way that I went into it through doing all that stuff. Like I remember playing like mad kind of house nonsense, like Sandstorm by Darude to a room full of like 17-year-old kids, and I smashed the cones on the speakers that my mate's band lent me and whatnot. But like I can remember it clearly, even though it was years and years ago, and I was having a whale of a time. Everybody was loving it. Like I didn't mind, and like I was playing all kinds of mega cheesy stuff, like I couldn't even think of specifically what records, but
what was the furthest you took it?
I'll play anything. Like I even recently, I do 80s and 90s nights. I'll play Barbie Girl and Venga Boys, but I will mash it up. Like I will play that in a way that will fuck up the dance. Like there's no two ways about it. Like me and Martin used to do a night, and a guy called Jake, who's a fantastic DJ. We used to do a night called I Love the 80s and I Love the 90s. With which was at Camden. The Jazz Cafe in Camden, and
Sick.
it was one of the funnest gigs that we used to do. It was always nice and easy, relaxed. There was never any trouble. It was full of girls, and everybody loved what you were playing them. And because we were all good DJs as well, we were mixing that music up in a way that they'd be like, "Oh wow, like you can
That's
actually
different.
mix these records. You don't have to just whack them in and whatnot." And it was good fun.
What kind of music do you listen to growing up then, Andy? Because like you say, if you was going out 17, 18 and you're playing all sorts of stuff from cheesy music to R&B to hip hop, like what was the sound that was like played around the house? What was in your headphones in the yard, man?
Well, I mean, it was for me, like in the house wasn't really a thing. It wasn't like we had music playing everywhere the whole time. And I got three brothers, and I lived with my parents, my mum, and my dad. And my mum and my dad didn't really listen to music much at all, if I'm honest. So like the things that they used to have on in the car, this would be the ones that I really remember. I'll give you a rundown, and I hope my mum and dad don't have a word with me for outing them.
Here we go.
In the car, we used to have Les Miserables, the musical, on tape. Used to be playing, which so I actually know all the songs from that because it used to just be on repeat. Erasure used to be on quite a lot. Eurythmics. And like I've got my mum and dad's record collection, which is quite small, but there's all sorts in there. But it's predominantly quite popular music for their era, and there wasn't particularly a strict style, and they didn't kind of force me into any of the kind of music they listened to. So for me personally, it was just a case of kind of like exploring what sounds kind of jumped out to me, and that was hip hop really. So I just grew up kind of getting into that, which was a strange one because none of my friends...
How did you pick it up, man? Like going from Les Miserables in the car to hip hop. It's a jump.
Do you know what? I don't even really know because none of my friends listened to hip hop. That was like my thing, and I couldn't really compare notes with anyone or discuss it or whatnot. Like I used to find out about things through going on blogs or what stuff. I was gonna say blogs, but what did you call them? Forums. I used to go on forums.
Even the blogs were quite dope back then, I guess. I used to look on what was it, like allhiphop.com and a few other dodgy ones. Like I mean,
this was way before that. Really, it's probably before I even started looking at them. So I guess like just being in CD shops and just chance encounters, I guess, and then it was just the sound that kind of spoke to me and got me excited. And from when I started listening to certain records, it just kind of developed into the thing that I liked the most. And it was always hip hop, not R&B. Like people kind of lump them two together, but if you put me into a rave up against someone like Rob Percy or Martin Too Smooth, who really know their R&B, and said, right, you're going to clash them on R&B, I would get whooped. It would be embarrassing.
I'm not involved.
Embarrassing. Like, I'd happily have a go at the hip hop one, but R&B, no, you'd crucify me.
It's quite.
Always get lumped together, isn't it?
I was just about to say that it's quite mad how the R&B hip hop thing always goes as like the one sound. Oh, it's R&B and hip hop. Oh, it's R&B and hip hop. Like I wonder why that is, man.
I even do it as well. You know what? I think it's like for me on my musical journey, at least. I feel like it was around like early 2000s where things started really crossing over. Jay-Z's doing tracks with Beyonce, Sean Paul's doing tracks with Beyonce, 50 Cent's doing stuff with, Ja Rule's doing stuff with Ashanti. 50 Cent's dropping stuff like 21 Questions, which isn't a hip-hop record.
Like R&B
but
infused.
it's not an R&B record either. It's
I was waiting for you to say 50 Cent's doing stuff with Olivia.
I don't know what you class that as.
But they had a couple. What records did they do again? She was obviously on the
Magic
Candy Shop
Stick.
joint.
She was on Magic Stick.
No, that was Little Kim.
She was on 50's Magic Stick.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Little Kim on Magic Stick. Olivia and 50. They did Candy Shop.
Double's hotspot is having a stinker there.
Oh, is it going off?
Can you turn your mic up, Dubs, on the Zoom?
Yeah, is it too quiet?
A little bit. Did you turn it up after last week?
Yep.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, it must just because I'm using this thing. We in.
How about now?
Yeah, you just sound a little bit quiet. That's all. Are you using?
How about now?
Oh, there you go. That's better.
I don't know why it's so quiet.
There you go. That's wild. Oh, that's crisp now.
There we go.
Like pear neck.
We can start the podcast now.
Right, let's go.
But yeah, no, it is mad that people lump R&B and hip hop together. And I was the same as you, Andy. When I first started out DJing, like bedroom DJing and actually collecting vinyl, I was looking for stuff like Talib Kweli, Common, you know, like stuff that's real at the time, underground hip hop, Gangstar, DJ Premier Productions and stuff like that I can just learn to spin in my bedroom. But I made the switch to kind of adding R&B into my sets when I realized that the stuff I was playing in the bedroom would not resonate in the clubs.
Sure.
When I realized I wanted to be a club DJ, it was like, right, okay, it's time to start bringing some Ashanti into the set. Do you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. And so just from being out in the clubs at a very early age in DJing, realizing all of these guys aren't playing like head nod or what some might call like backpacker hip hop. They're actually playing like more commercial, the R&B hip hop type stuff. That's when I started kind of merging the two in. But it is mad that they get grouped together.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've just like, for example, Volatile does his Soul Kitchen show, which is fantastic.
He is going in.
All the way in. And I listen to that and I think, right, this is actually for people who genuinely love R&B and soul, etc. Like, whereas I can't say that I do love that myself. I enjoy listening to him. I think it's infectious because he clearly loves it. But it's not my type of music. And so when people put on the flyer hip hop and R&B, yeah, like I'll give you what you want to hear. Don't get me wrong, I do know about R&B, but I'm not going to be able to blow your mind if you're really actually a fan.
I feel what Volatile's done with that Soul Kitchen is so sick. Like even selection wise, it's just not the normal stuff that you would hear. And like he's definitely took that. He's just, I feel like he's found his pocket perfectly, man. And like I feel like what he's doing with that can definitely elevate to something, especially now with people aren't really out playing too much, the clubs aren't really open, and he's definitely took that opportunity and
he's doing what I think DJs really should be doing. Like he's taking the music that he loves and putting it together in a way that he wants to do it in his style, and just saying, I'm doing this today, come on listen, come and watch. You know what I mean? Like that for me, that's what DJs should be doing. Here's what I've found, have a listen. Not like, here's the most popular 40 records, I'm going to just play them in whatever.
I totally agree with you. I think that the things that I've been most interested, I mean, I can use you two as an example as well, because if I go onto a stream where Stylus is playing just a kind of like open format hip hop and R&B set to his followers, like I know the vibe, they know the vibe, the comments full of people talking about it, it's genuine, you're smiling, I'm smiling, the comments are smiling, and it works perfectly, which is how it should be. Exactly like Volatile's things. And when I go on to watch one of your interviews, Dubl, I've never seen you interview someone that I don't think Dubl actually likes this person he's interviewing. I always think, oh shit, like
he holds it down well.
I don't necessarily. Maybe I don't see the ones that I'm not so interested in. But like, if I see you interview Mr. Vegas, I know that you love dancehall, so like that's going to be a good interview. I see you interview Pop Smoke, I know you like that sound, so I'm going to listen to it. I see you interview some of the UK artists, and you've done a bunch of drill artists, and I know you like that sound. And like it comes across because you do end up getting something out of those people through the fact that you're comfortable and they're quite comfortable. You understand their genre. You are in the clubs playing their music. And so you understand the effect it has. And so it's the right thing to do. Whereas if I went into an interview and interviewed, I don't know, Kalani, like
you would love it.
I would, like, for obvious reasons, it wouldn't be a bad thing, but like, it would be stupid because I don't know much about her really. Like, I know her hits, but I'm not a big fan. So like, I like it when I'm watching DJs do what their kind of like forte is, and it really comes across in all of those situations that I just mentioned.
That's the important thing though, because like, if you're doing it and you don't enjoy doing it, it's going to become obvious. And not only that,
you can tell, man.
It's going to become soul destroying. It's going to just become like, I'm just going to do this again. Like, it's not going to be as much effort. Like using your quarantine mixes as a perfect example, Andy. Like, it's very, very clear watching them that you really enjoy.
Well, when you see the outtakes,
finding these little finding the transitions. But it's very, very clear that what you are doing, that's your lane. Like, you love doing the turntablism, but you love the music that you've put in, and you like finding these little tricks and word plays and transitions and stuff. That's very, very clear. Even like, how many days have you been doing it now? I was going to say,
where are we up to?
I've done 93 videos, so it's not far off 100.
That's ridiculous, man.
But the thing that's irking me at the moment is trying to develop it into certain extra little bits. Like the whole thing from 1 to 90 has been like a learning process for me, which is partly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be something which would make people smile and that the average person could engage with. Like, I didn't make it for the DJs, I made it for the average person who likes music. And then also to challenge myself to create something that I was proud of. And so I've been trying to constantly learn, but I've got up to the point now, and I spent a half an hour on phone with Dubl last night talking about it. I'm trying to do something again, which is a bit different, but starting to come across a few obstacles, which is a little bit jarring. Hopefully be able to find a way around them. Yeah. But the creativity is there, and the progression in terms of what I'm trying to do, and the quality of what I'm trying to put out is moving forward. But just need to find a way that I can deliver it to people without getting a rap on the wrist from the social media gods.
I said the social media gods.
It's interesting what you said, that you're making them not for DJs, but you're making them for music fans and music lovers. Because what I like about it is you've got the trickery in there. You've got like what I'll call like the DMC style to the technique. But at the same time, you're not alienating the fans, because a normal person who knows nothing about DJing can watch it and understand what's going on, but be like, this is actually like sick. This is creative. Whereas there's a lot of the time DJs that, like, we find they either have incredible DMC skills, but lack in the entertaining, like, quote unquote, normal people, or they can rock a party, but they've got no technical skills. You know what I mean? You found like a perfect balance.
Yeah, I feel like Andy fuses both of them together perfectly.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. That's pretty much what I'm going for. Like, you compare me to some of the people who actually compete in the DMCs, like you mentioned, and like, if you put me up against any of these guys, like, I don't know, Cable, Doc Jr., Joe Sensation, Play, Devon, like, I mean, I'm going to miss some names if I just start listing everybody.
Yeah, don't list too many, mate.
It's incredibly good. But like, they're all significantly better than me at doing that kind of stuff. But I've got a kind of like a base level of skills which is technical enough to so that I can do something creative, and also not too technical that the average person can look at it and think, okay, I can appreciate he's doing something that's cool, but I can also hear that it sounds all right. Because if I started doing if I spent 2 years getting to the standard of Blakey, for example, and I put together a routine that was kind of mad technical, but was kind of over the top, I don't think that my mum could watch it and be like, I enjoyed that. That was cool. She'd just be like, wow, like, it looks like you're doing some cool shit, but like, I don't really know what's going on. And I'm just trying to kind of go in the middle. Because at the end of the day, like, I enjoy doing that stuff. And it's nice to go back to what I started out DJing with, which was me in a bedroom just messing around. But I fully love being in the clubs. And when I play my club sets, particularly if I'm playing kind of upfront urban music and to like a London, UK crowd, I hardly do any tricks at all. I'm just going in purely on selection and rifling through tunes and through understanding and knowledge of music and rocking a party, as I know both you do incredibly well.
So we're not going to see a green screen in the DJ booth next time we come to see you play. Then is that what you're telling us?
I'll do all my gigs remotely via screen. It'll just be like teleported onto the whatever screens they have in the venue.
So we covered this just before we actually pushed record on this, but for people, so they know the levels that you went to for the quarantine videos. You actually painted a wall in your living room, didn't you? So you could do the green screen.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably turn my laptop around and
when I first seen the videos, and I was thinking that looks like he's painted the walls, and the guy has done. Look how neat that is. Look how neat that is. The taping is on point.
Do you know what?
Yeah. It's absolutely gone in.
Yeah,
the painted his wall.
The paint was very expensive. You know, it's proper video paint. But
is it?
Yeah, I had this kind of like little nook where my DJ equipment goes in my flat, and I was always discussing with my friend Baha about painting it green so he could do something like that. And when quarantine came around, I started doing those videos without having the screen. Now I thought, do you know what? Now's the time to give it a go. So yeah, just went for it, and like it works well for the videos. Like it's difficult because there's lots of angles and shadows and all that, and we won't get into boring camera nonsense. But it's not easy to kind of key it all out, but managed to do it. And the videos are pretty cool. It adds a lot of stress, like putting together. When I was doing it daily, coming up with an idea, recording it, and then putting something in the background afterwards is very time consuming. Those videos would take me like 6-7
it's
hours.
It's like a day's work, isn't it? I can relate.
Seriously,
like, this editing to get the stuff like top quality is crazy, bro. It literally is a day's work. And I've just done last week. I just recorded my first green screen episode of a show. And mate, doing the editing for that, it's a 10-minute show, and it took literally like 10-11 hours of work.
Mad.
Crazy.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
It's crazy.
Was it meant to go this far, Andy? Like when you done your first couple, was you thinking in your head, I'm going to be 90, 100 episodes deep by the time everything calms down? I'm going to paint, my walls are painted green. Like, do you know what I mean? I've gone in.
But not necessarily. Like when I committed to doing one every day, I did mean it. And I was like, right, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And like, you have those thoughts in your head, or maybe I'll go up to 50, maybe I'll go up to 100, maybe I'll try and do a whole year worth of doing them or whatnot.
Wow.
And you kind of set yourself them goals to make sure that you are in it for the long term, and then you kind of assess as you go along. And it got to 50, and I did a wicked one with Rob Percy and his hip hop karaoke crew, and got loads of people singing the songs in the background, which was a lot of fun.
Dope.
And probably my favorite one that I've done. Big shout out to Rob for sorting that out. He's a legend. And I was still kind of feeling good about it. So I kept going. But when it got to like 70, 75, something like that, it just started to get a little like I started to feel the pressure a little bit, because it was taking up so much time each day. And then obviously, because I live on my own as well, you're dealing with just being away from people for 3 months or whatnot.
Real talk.
So you kind of like you're in your head a lot more than you usually are. Mm-hmm. So I started to get a little bit kind of under pressure from it, and so I decided kind of when I got to about 85, 86 or something like that, just to kind of put them out as and when, and to take time to think about some other projects and whatnot, which is what I've been working on at the moment, something which is longer. So I've got a video which is ready to go out, which is 34 minutes long, which is pretty similar. It's like a full video mix with lots of tricks and whatnot in it. But the problem that I was discussing with Dubl is that I uploaded it to YouTube and got 36 copyright claims.
Oh my god! I think there is actually a tip for this. I think if you upload them have you uploaded it as a private?
Oh mate, don't worry. We've been
Have you been through this?
We spent much time on the phone yesterday.
Okay. It's such a ball ache, isn't it, man? We're having the same with our compound stuff. Like, even we did a podcast last night and we played a tiny snippet in the podcast, and boom, like they're taking it down. It's like, ugh.
Well, that's the thing. Like, in particular, there was one record where they submit the claim. They submitted claims on 36. There's only 40 tracks, so they claimed most of them. But the one which they replied immediately to one of my claims, and they dismissed it and said no. So I've appealed against that now. But I'd only played 26 seconds of this record, and it's not even a like particularly commercial record. So it's a Dubl L's record, and I literally play the chorus for 26 seconds, and it's half an hour into the mix. So it makes me think that it's unlikely that it will get approved, because that's not necessarily impacting their business in any way at all, really.
No, not at all.
And so if that's getting a claim, then whichever tracks are at the start that I play for a minute, they're likely to have an issue.
Yeah, it's long. It's long, all this copyright stuff.
They have to make it hard for us, don't they?
Yeah, man. But it's like, I feel like back in the day, but do you remember when like you used to do like mixed CDs and stuff? Obviously, doing mixed CDs technically was illegal, but they didn't really clamp down on it, because what we were doing as DJs is we're putting out mixes and promoting their song.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because when you do a mix CD, you're not playing the whole record, you're doing it in a mix. And sometimes in the early days as well, we couldn't even track mark the CDs. Do you guys ever remember doing the CD mix?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
Where it was just like 70 minutes.
70 minutes, one file.
Exactly. So like, I feel like back then as DJs, when we're giving it out, we're promoting ourselves as DJs. But in turn, people might hear a clip of a song. I know I did it with other DJs. I hear their mixtapes and think, wow, what is that song? Look at the track list. Go and buy the song on CD. Go straight to HMV or R Price.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I said R Price, you know. Wow.
yeah.
Woolworths.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it's like, I feel like that element of what we do as DJs has been lost, and it's kind of, they've really tightened up on it unnecessarily, because when we're doing these mixes and there is only 26 seconds of a song, that's not going to stop a fan from going to Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal or wherever and streaming the song. Like,
For sure.
what it could do is someone's a fan of drill and they're listening to Andy's new mix and they haven't heard that song yet. Well, look, the track list is in the description. Now I know what that song is. Now I'm going to add it to my favorites and I'm going to play it 10 times a day. Do you know
what's really funny is the track which I'm talking about is a record that I heard in another DJ's mix, and it just, like, you know, when you just hear records, you're like, this record's hard. Like, I love this track immediately, and that's why I put it in the mix. So it's kind of it's a shame that they might be stopping other people from discovering the same record in the same way. But I mean, like, the appeal is there, so we'll see what they say. And like, I mean, I can't have too much of a moan, because it is their material at the end of the day, and so they get to choose what they do with it. But I just hope they might see sense. But we'll see.
I feel like it's the digital age that's played a part in it as well. It's machines now that run all these things. So you upload it into the system and it's scanned, and it's kind of like, I reckon if you spoke to that artist directly, he'd just be like, yeah, cool. But it's like kind of
of course,
out of their hands. Do you know what I mean? The labels.
Yeah,
the
mad thing is the artists don't own their own music. That's the mad thing. Like, the ones that do own their own music, a lot of the time, that's fine. That's not an issue. There are certain ones, like elite artists, that they have a very, very strict thing on their music. But yes, the ones like that, like, they're signed to majors, they don't even own their own music. So, and I've had it in the past. That's why, for example, in my interviews, an early format I tried to use was when I'm talking to an artist about a song. Like, do you remember old TV interviews that used to change to a clip of the song?
Yeah.
I'm doing that in my early interviews, and the interview video got locked off because the song belonged to someone else, even though I'm sat with the person who made the song, talking about the song. So I put a short clip, and that's it, locked off. So
SoundCloud have done it with producers that have uploaded their own music. I think it happened to James Hype, actually. I remember having a conversation with him, and one of his own songs got pulled for copyright on a James Hype track, and he is James Hype.
But that's the mad thing. That's the mad thing. If he's signed, he doesn't necessarily own his own music.
Okay.
By signing, you are selling your products to a major label. They're buying it from you. That's it's crazy, bruv. It is a mad thing. It's something, I think, because we're still relatively quite early in the days of digital music. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's still things, they've only just got past the whole MP3 piracy stage of it. Do you know what I mean? By introducing streams.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, though.
Really, like, we're still in the early days, so I feel like it probably will even out, or there will be some sort of system, or maybe not. Maybe DJs as people that break music might just become irrelevant. It might just be down to YouTube or artists breaking their own music. Do you know what I mean? Like, well,
I think that you're right. They are, and I think they are actually working towards it. I mean, even though this is the first time I've tried to upload a mix to YouTube, I can see that they've got certain points in there to try and help me as a creator who's using other people's music. So they've got the ability for someone to say, all right, you can use this record, but you can't monetize it, or they can say you can use this record, but any money you get goes to my artist. And that's how it should be. That's the correct way of doing it. So it looks like they are trying to make it a viable option, but it would just need the record labels to be on board with that fully. And they obviously need to be happy, and they are businesses and they are doing what they need to do. So just going to be a case of time and seeing what decisions they make. Obviously, I would like them to allow my mix to go up. I understand the world we live in, and everyone's got their incentives, and I can't be ignorant to that.
I found a lot of the older records that I was using in my streams were getting flagged. So I'm talking like early 90s R&B joints, and like you said, you get the strikes on YouTube, and some will allow it and they'll redirect the revenues and stuff to the correct people. And then some will get the red flag where it can't be seen or monetized or anything. And they want to take it down. And I had like old, like Jagged Edge records and like Drew Hill joints and stuff. And they were getting instant red flags. I was like, these guys need all the pennies they can get now, surely.
But the interesting thing is, I think those kind of things, as the older catalogs are ending up now on the streaming platforms, they are making money again, because people, you see so many like 90s R&B playlists, or this is R&B and stuff like that, or this is hip hop. Do you know what I mean? All the old school playlists are appearing, and the older catalogs, the labels that are switched on, at least, especially the big ones, are putting the old catalogs. They're remastering everything so it sounds super, super crisp on the digital, like on digital platforms. And so they are getting money from streams, because obviously very, very few people are now buying those records as records or CDs. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, who buys CDs?
I was just about to say, do any of you guys still buy CDs, or what? Do you still buy vinyls and CDs, guys? Or is that...
I bought one CD.
Andy's looking to the left like he's got something over there.
I was thinking, because I'll tell you why. Let me see if I can grab it.
He's got something for us. What's he got?
I was doing a mix for Channel U, and I was trying to get the it wasn't for Channel U. I was doing a mix which had
Channel U
songs
mix,
which were just Channel U, from Channel U on there, and I knew I had the CDs. So I was like, all right, all I'll do is I'll just go on there and rip all the CD and rip all the songs off that I wanted and use them. But I flat out, and it's the middle of quarantine, I just don't have anything that can rip a CD. Like, I don't have a CD player. So I was like, I've got the songs, like physically I have them here, but I couldn't use them. So I had to phone up people.
They've even phased out the CD. Records. They don't even have CD drives on your laptop. The older Macs used to have the CD drives, didn't they?
Nah. So I've got an old CD, but an old Mac which has got a CD drive in it, but it wouldn't turn on. So it was peak.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, I can't remember.
I bought one CD, and that was only because I got bullied into it. I got pressured into it.
Got bullied into it. Go on.
Basically, I did a lockdown interview. Obviously, I've been doing the interviews in lockdown, but just on Zoom with artists. And Ambush dropped his project, and he basically put it on me. He was like, "Have you bought the album?" I was like, "Well, no, I've streamed it." And he's like, "No, but have you bought it?" And so there in the interview, basically, I was like, "Oh, I'll buy it now."
Well, so you got ambushed.
I got ambushed, yeah. Nice.
Hey, someone unplug Stylus's mic.
But no, I do.
I had a late night last night, man.
I do still buy vinyl, like, but not CDs. So that CD was just.
What was the last vinyl? We can do this actually. It's a round
Last
robin.
vinyl.
Everyone can answer. Last vinyl that you bought.
The last vinyl I bought was. That's an easy pick.
Stormzy
Okay.
album.
Right here.
Fair play.
This one right
Fair
here.
play.
That was the last vinyl I bought.
I don't even know, guys, because I sold all my vinyls, man. I'm trying to think what the last purchase was before.
Have a think, and I'll go and get the last one I bought.
I'm gonna go get it. I'm Dubs. You know what? I don't even know what my last
Oh,
vinyl
this
was.
is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, Andy's gonna have something. Andy's gonna have like a signed Prince record or something.
Oh yeah, so for everyone listening, I just held up a copy of Stormzy's brand new album. Stormzy's latest album. But I forget sometimes we do audio only.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
everyone that was listening on Spotify or Apple didn't hear the answer to the last
Andy's
one.
gonna have
So the
something
one I
sick.
bought
I
was,
already know this guy's gonna have something sick. He's
I
holding,
got
up a framed.
I got something mad controversial, and this was framed before he went to prison.
Oh my days!
Hey,
is that
Doubles
6'9"?
best mate. Doubles best mate.
Wait, is that signed?
Yeah, that's
signed the record. Do you know why I got that? It's because I bought tickets to his show at Camden Underworld, which is about 150 capacity venue in Camden. Like when just after the album first dropped, before he kind of obviously turned into the monster that he is. And they kept upsizing the venue, obviously, because he was just going crazy. So I went to like 1,000 seater, 5,000 seater, 10,000 seater, and then they just cancelled it because he was too busy. Wow. And they sent out a email saying, look, you can either get a refund or we'll send you a signed vinyl album. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll take that.
There you go.
Okay. And by the way,
guy
again,
framed it, you know.
For everybody listening, Andy, can you just announce the artist name and the album name, please?
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
That's actually sick, you know. To be fair, I don't like him as an artist, but
do you know what?
He looks the part.
I loved that album, and I still think it's brilliant and innovative. And it really reminded my brother's in a heavy metal band, and I used to go to their gigs a lot. And I went to their gigs at Camden Underworld, which was quite appropriate that he was doing his thing there. The fact that he's kind of shouting and screaming a lot on the records, it really reminds me of that type of music. And there's a lot of crossovers in some of the kind of album tracks, and so the sound really resonated with me.
Okay.
And also at the time, I just thought he was a brilliant example because he'd been doing music for quite a long time before that blew up. It was just a good example of how you can go from kind of not zero, but like 1 to 100 in literally 6 months. So it was just like saying, it would remind me every time I walk past it on the wall, like keep going. Like you get one little trigger and you could be
gone.
You could be gone. You could go clear that easily. Like if you just hit the right buttons and do the right things. So like I still think he's an example of that. Obviously now, because of what he got into and the way that he worked out that situation, he's not the same person that he is. But at the time, and what I'll remember that album for is kind of that period. And it's a story.
I was going to say that is a story.
From.
I knew you had the vinyl signed, but like I'm surprised. I didn't know you were such like a fan like that.
No, for real. Like I genuinely loved that album, and I liked his sound. I think the new stuff's he's just putting out records just to stay the most streamed, most viewed artist in the world, and it's all kind of shit, but. There was a lot of really good music, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's crazy with him is the way that, like you say, he was doing music before, but it was the social media side that blew him up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like he blew up because of his personality on social media. Nothing even to do with his music. He wasn't even necessarily posting clips. He's just trolling and just being on there.
He was playing. Bro, I remember his early. I never rated him at first, but then I didn't fall in love with the guy. But when I seen the comedy videos he was posting, like he's doing the Usher in the rain, and he's got his security guards stood there. I was like, this guy's actually he's actually quite funny, man. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, but that was it. Like when Gummo came out, because he looked so mad and he was throwing up all the gang signs and had all the gang paraphernalia and whatnot in his video, but he had rainbow hair. He looked all mad. It was weird.
Rainbow
He was
teeth.
shouting. It was mad aggressive. Like he was getting clowned when that on World Star for that video, and he just thought, right, do you know what? I'm getting murdered here, but everyone's paying attention to me.
Exactly.
Right, let's run with it. And he just used that spark to create something absolutely unbelievable in the truest word of in the truest sense of the word.
Because this number game now is like flipping. It's just astronomical, isn't it? Like I think I watched the first time I went on his Instagram, didn't he? Just after he'd got out, and I think everyone's out here trying to do the most on the Insta lives to get the numbers up through lockdown. He comes out and just clicks live, and literally just blows.
Wasn't it like 2.5 million people locked into his live or something?
Something like that. Yeah, it was.
Does he do bigger numbers than Drake?
He did bigger live. He did bigger live numbers than anybody at that point. I don't know if it's been beaten since, and he's got the fastest and most viewed songs of all time on YouTube.
There you go.
Mental.
They got 6ix9ine. He's doing his thing.
He's flipped everything on its head because he literally is the hottest rapper from America right now. Like,
well, I don't agree with that now. I think he was when he immediately came out, but I think it's slowly just disappearing. Like I don't really pay too much attention to what he puts out now, whereas I did when he first came out. So yeah, I think it's going to slowly fade for him. Would be my opinion. I don't know that, obviously, but he's not as hot as when he first came out of.
I don't know. I feel like he keeps reinventing the story because as soon as he came out, there was hype around the fact that he came out, and then there was like a few viral videos which I think were deliberately set up where he was in like. Did you ever see the one where there's a girl and she's like 6'9", lives in my neighborhood, and she has a video across, and he's on a balcony taking photos, and then you see on his Instagram. I feel like that was set up. I don't feel that was real. But then he keeps doing all these different videos where he's just walking through the streets in New York. Or did you see the one where someone's chasing him on the camera, and then he turns around and he's got the tracksuit with "rat" written on it and stuff like that? Like all of this stuff's making him go viral. The latest one where he's walking down the street with Akon. Like just him
what?
Him and Akon, it's not just them. He's got like a small army of security creating like a human force field around them. But he's walking down the street. It was on Akon's Instagram. He's walking down the street in, it might have been LA actually, I think, because he'd moved from New York. So he was now saying he's the king of LA. And so he's walking down the street in LA, and there's a bunch of people around, like civilians, some people clowning him, some people shouting at him and that. And then he just throws a bunch of money in the air, like all hundreds, thousands of dollars, throws it all in the air, and there's like people scattering to collect money and that. Like,
listen, he knows what he's doing, man. I respect it, bro. Like,
another thing that went viral. It's mad.
Fair play to the kid. Fair play to the kid.
The viral guy.
He's a viral king. Anyway, enough about 6ix9ine.
yeah. Enough about 6ix9ine.
Let that guy do his thing. I feel like that social media side of it now, like these artists, like it plays such a big part in it. Like especially now with these newer dudes, like you can use it to really propel what you're doing. Like obviously, if the music's good as well, that helps. If it's not so good, like maybe 6ix9ine's newer stuff, but he's using that. Do you know what I mean? It's
I agree. That's why if you go onto MTV channels and watch the music videos, you quite often nowadays come across something where there's either just a lyric video or a blank screen with a picture on it whilst it plays a song, because TikToks are blowing up records from people who don't have a history of music and aren't probably signed when the record comes out, but it becomes a hit, a global hit within 2-3 weeks, and they don't have time to get a video out, or they don't feel the need to because the song's already a smash hit. And so you don't even have a full kind of push behind the records. That's how quick it can be. And like an interesting thing parallel to say the video that I've made a drill mix, 40 songs on it. Of those 40 songs, at least 10 of them were made within the kind of like 2 or 3 days before I put the mix together. the fact that I've now waited 4 days to edit it and get it ready to put out, but I'm having these copyright claims that can take up to 30 days. If they do take 30 days and then I put this mix out, it will almost be irrelevant because that is how fast music is consumed.
Real talk. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, you could drop an album and you would sit on it for months and listen to it over and over again, and you'd pick up new lines and find different pockets in the tracks. Now it's so quick, like the conveyor belt is just. I find it hard keeping up with what's been released. Like even having the Spotify, I'll like an album and I'll try and go back to it, and before you know it, like you just new stuff comes and I've not even listened to this album yet, and it's so quick now. Like that's
the difference between music consumers and music fans, though. Like the people that are just streaming and then onto the next, they're just consumers. But the people, like, if you do have an album, there's still albums dropping now that I will sit on and keep in my car. Tory Lane's Memories Don't Die, I think, dropped in 2018. I still listen to that album today, like all the way through. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's so many different albums. I feel like certain artists do drop projects which leave craters in music history. Do you know what I mean? Like Pop Smoke, I think, is probably the most recent example. His new album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, I feel like is going to go down as a historic album in hip hop.
You think so?
Like, yeah, I definitely do. But partly because
I'm not going to say
disagree
I completely disagree.
No, I really do. But partly it's sad because I feel like it's partly because of the circumstances around it all. Obviously, he died and then the album dropped.
Yeah, I get that.
I think if he hadn't died and had dropped the album, I still think it would be like a landmark. This album, okay, I'm gonna.
I think it would have been I think it would have been a better album.
What if he'd stayed alive? Oh yeah.
I feel like 50 and the team or whoever were messing with it. They've ran with like 40-50% of that record, whereas I feel like Pop would have had way more influence, and I just don't think that would have been the project, if you get what I'm saying. Like,
No, of course not. But what they've had to do was they had to take half-finished songs and
I get that.
them.
But they made 45 records. There's like it's like fucking how many? It's like 2 albums.
It's not 45. I think the total one's like 36, isn't it? But so here you go. I'm going to say this. Yeah, I think Pop. And you two might shoot me down for this, but I don't care. So I'm saying it with my chest. Pop Smoke's album is the Get Rich or Die Trying album for this generation.
Never.
There's too many kind of average records on there for me. Like I think it's a great project. I just don't think there is the whole thing's good enough quality. I think if you took kind of like Pop Smoke's catalogue, which is all recent years, because I think he's put out most of those tracks after only having been rapping for like 4 months or something stupid. You're like, you could tell me that, Dubl. And if you made, like, in terms of his contribution, I think it is definitely landmark. But the album just doesn't. It's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy it.
It's a good project, man.
But I don't think it's quite there.
Yeah, it's not a classic for me. Sorry, Dubs.
It's not. Apologise.
It's got.
You're the one that's wrong. You don't have to apologise.
There's a couple.
He definitely has a classic sound for sure.
Yeah, 100.
I'll tell you an interesting one that I saw, because Rob Percy retweeted it the other day and just talking about classic sounds, and Pop Smoke definitely did have something that was a little bit different. Chief Keef turned 25 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Really? Is that all?
Is that it? Why in my head did I think Chief Keef was like old?
Bro, it's because he bust early. He must have been like,
I've been out here since he was 13.
He must have been like 16 when he first.
It literally blew my mind. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
What?
He's I mean, this is conversations that I have with Rob Percy, who's the oracle of all music, and
the oracle.
The amount of he was saying the amount of sounds that he's influenced, and then given his age, it's just fucking it's mental.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't know why I had that in my head. I always thought Chief Keef was like old, but yeah, he must have been. He's been out here from early then. Fair play.
I thought he was older than 25. What's interesting, and there's a huge debate about like the origins of UK drill, and obviously the way that UK drill, especially like producers like 808 Mellow, who made a lot of Pop Smoke stuff, and there's other producers who are making the stuff that right now in New York is massive. And a lot of it's being produced by UK producers, but there's a huge conversation about like, where did the UK drill thing stem from? And in a lot of instances, especially with the older UK drill artists that I speak to, Chief Keef is their inspiration. Do you know what I mean? They're like, the first time I heard drill was Chief Keef. So it's Chicago drill that has kind of birthed UK drill in many instances. Obviously, like a lot of the younger kids now doing it are probably looking up to older UK their inspiration. But it's interesting to know that he's only 25. And like obviously from 10 years ago or whatnot, he's inspiring the UK artists to kind of really get on the drill stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know it was. I didn't know the drill sound came from Chicago like that.
Yeah, so it's like it's not just through and through Chicago drill birthed UK drill, but if you speak to a lot of like the OGs in UK drill, that's who that's where they'll cite their inspirations. They'll be like, yeah, I listened to a lot of Chief Keef. That's where I got my love for drill from.
Click on your Pop Smoke interview. He was just saying outright like he was teething my guy's beats off YouTube.
Yeah, really?
Just straight up.
Mental. It's crazy.
I rate that though. All right. He got looked after in the end though, right?
Mello, yeah. I mean, he's the executive producer on the project, so he's well looked after by the label. I think royalties, but even before label interaction and stuff, the story goes that he hotted up Pop Smoke basically after like a mixtape dropped with a bunch of the songs. And he was like, bro, like you're literally stealing my beats, and now you're starting to blow up. Like you need to pay for something. So what Pop Smoke did was actually flew him out to America and was like, right, you're my producer now, let's work. So yeah,
that's sick, man.
That was Pop Smoke's side of the story. I'm still waiting to get Mello's side of the story because I want to get him on the channel and actually like properly get it from his perspective as well, especially the stuff that happened building the album after Pop Smoke had died. I think it's going to be a really interesting story to hear.
Yeah, as a producer as well, you hear that project and like 4 or 5 of your beats are on there, and you're just you're just a low-key UK producer trying to make your way. Fair play to the kid though, man. I respect that.
No, he got looked after, and he's I think he's getting the success that he's due from the album. Massive album. But,
anyway.
Rob, tell us. We've spoken about Andy. I mean, sorry, why did I say Rob? Andy, we've spoken.
that is my twin brother's name. So I'm used to being called
there
Rob.
You go.
It's happened my whole life.
So you're used to it. I just felt like, yeah, I'll take that. So talk to us about the DJing on the Gumball rallies, because I think that's probably one of the most interesting DJ adventures.
I'm so jealous of that.
You're not the only person who says that. Yeah, well, no, I've been very fortunate. So Martin Too Smooth, who you've had on your podcast before, I've been working with him for 10 plus years. Like I met him on my first day at university when I moved up to London, and kind of worked with him since. And he started working with Gumball, which I think the connection was made because he DJs for Eve. Eve's husband is Max, who owns Gumball, and they started getting him in for a few parties. And obviously, Martin Too Smooth is the king of rocking parties and lighting up the place. And so it obviously was a brilliant collab. And so he started doing the rally each year. And he did half a rally, I think, first year. Then he did a full rally. I'm not sure if it was on his own or if he did it with Charlesy that year. But then the year after, he'd done it with Charlesy. He asked if I wanted to do the rally with him and introduced me to the Gumball guys. And then since that, I've been on the past 3 rallies, and I can say without any word of a lie, they are definitely 3 of the best weeks of my life.
Is this like the pinnacle of DJing? Is this like the dream job for DJing?
I was going to say that's one of the ones in it.
It really depends. It really depends what your outlook is, because it is absolutely incredible what you get to do and who you get to meet, where you get to hang out, what parties you get to play. And the whole week turns into a blur, but you've got to also have a certain mentality, because you will sleep maybe like an hour, 2
Minimal.
hours, 3 hours a day. Sometimes you don't sleep. Like for example, we turned up in Montenegro, landed, got on a bus with a bunch of the crew who run Gumball, nicest people in the world. Big up all you guys. And we went all the way down to the hotel, had an hour, and then me and Martin had to host the grid. So one of us was DJing as the cars would come in, and the other one of us would have a microphone, and we'd go and speak to each of the drivers as they come in, have a chat with them so the crowd could hear. Then the crowd would cheer them off. They'd kind of do some kind of little display for the fans, and then go park their cars and go to the hotel. And that would take about somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. Then when that's finished, quickly get some food wherever you can, then go straight to the club. We DJ at the club, and then as soon as the club was finished, we jumped straight in. We went back to the hotel, got our bags, and jumped straight into a minibus to get a flight to the UK, then to go out to wherever the next destination was. I can't remember now, because there's no direct flights between the two countries, and we need to be there before the cars arrive. So you do that, you get the flight to UK, turn around, go straight back to this other country, land, go straight to the grid. Immediately you're hosting, doing the same thing again, and then it's a party that night as well. So it's really full on. And
it's not for the faint-hearted by the sounds of it.
Well, it's not. And like we've had some good experience with that, because we've always worked heavily in promotions. So like we run this night called Milkshake. I say we run it, like there's a guy called Hanif who owned it and started it about 15 years ago. And then he runs it now with another guy called Louis, who are two of the most sleep-deprived, hard-working people that I know.
Shout out Hanif, man.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
And before social media was really as big as it is now, Martin in particular, and then for the 3 years I was at university, and maybe the year afterwards myself, used to go around and physically promote this. And that was a case of going to, I don't know, about maybe 20 to 25 freshers fairs at universities in London, a flyer and poster every single halls in London. So if you think about the fact that there's kind of 20 unis, each of those unis has like 6 halls, maybe more than that, plus you've got intercollegiate halls. So you go around, you do all that, plus you're also setting up people to do daytime flyering and postering, you're running guest lists, like all of that stuff, plus we're DJing 6 nights a week. You get used to not sleeping and just fully just being on go the whole time. And I think that really prepared us to be in a situation where you've got this amazing experience, but you are going to have to deal with the fact that you are not going to be able to sleep, and you need to be approachable and happy and putting on a show the whole time, despite the fact you're absolutely exhausted. So we were kind of well positioned to kind of handle that. And then also throwing back to the music, like the age and kind of like mix of people that's on the Gumball is ridiculous. You've got some YouTube stars who are 16 from I think from the States. You've got kind of like 40 to 60-year-old guys who are incredibly successful businessmen in a whole range of different industries. You've got people who are into music. You've got, I don't know, David Hasselhoff. You've got not really trying to like drop names, but like just to give you an idea, like it's that mad. You've got people who live in Liverpool, successful businessmen, and then you've also got some of the richest guys in Japan, and they're all together in one space, and there's only about 150 of them. And your job is to make sure that they're entertained, dance, and have a good time. So when we're in the parties, it's not like we're just kind of playing the coolest, most upfront shit.
Yeah, you got to mix it up a bit.
Everything.
Okay.
Like,
so here's the question then. What is the song? What one song would you choose to get David Hasselhoff on the dance floor?
Baywatch theme song.
No, I'm not sure it'd be too pleased about that.
I'll be there.
That was a rhythm. That was a big record, man.
He did. It's really interesting. Oh, sorry. Go
I
on,
mean,
Andy.
it wasn't important. I was gonna say, oh, he might not be too happy about you playing that, but I mean, he's a great sport. Like one of the charity auctions that Gumball 3000 do whilst they're on the rally, he rallied off one of the I don't know what you call them, flotation things. You know, the orange things that the girls
Yeah,
used
Oh
to
yeah,
run
like
with.
the float thing. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. He signed one of those and they auctioned it off, and he was good fun partying with the guys afterwards who bought that and whatnot. So
He
he's
seems like an
definitely a top
absolute
bloke.
G, man. From the little the videos and clips that I've seen of him, he seems like a cool guy, man.
Didn't
Yeah,
he do?
incredibly nice.
Didn't he do Knight Rider as well? I swear he was Knight Rider.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he was.
So when
Oh mate, Busta Rhymes, turn it up. That's the tune you got to play.
I mean that's
the one. Come on.
I mean there you go. That's another example of us
bad
being
shout.
able to handle it because of our kind of like depth of all different types of music. Because when Martin was on the mic hosting the grid in London at the flag drop, he actually drove through in the Knight Rider car, the Knight Rider car, and
Oh, sick.
I'm on my laptop and I think, oh shit, like he's coming through the Knight Rider car. I didn't see that before, but I had the theme tune on my laptop already because I do these 80s and 90s nights. So like I just literally quickly loaded it up and played it, and obviously it looked sick.
It
and worked
looks
for everyone.
Yeah, that's cool.
You got that's the thing about DJs having that knowledge. Just think on your toes and like create them moments, man. Like I had the Knight Rider car coming down with the theme song. That's amazing.
But that was it. And so like
That's amazing.
It's been in those situations where we play music that most people wouldn't deem necessarily as cool that lands you in a position where you can handle these situations with trying to entertain kind of people who have a broad taste in music.
You must have
When
been in
you've
your
got,
bag perfectly there, then, Andy. Like you say, with the vast like styles of music that you play, that must have been like a perfect booking for you guys.
100%, and like Martin even more so. Like Martin's depth of music knowledge is astonishing. Like if you ever want to play one of those, games where you're talking about you play two seconds of the song and you got to guess what it is. Like
Martin's on the job.
Yeah, don't test Martin at that. He'll light you up across genres as well. Like,
Oh my days.
Like we were in Japan on one of the rallies, and we're playing in this club with music producer Dallas Austin, and it's just us three playing, and it was such a cool thing, and I had such a great time because Dallas was doing the same thing that me and Martin do, just choosing songs that he personally loved, and just the vibe was just wicked, and it was kind of like nothing was wrong. You could do whatever you wanted, and that was one of the best the best parties that I've experienced on the rally, just because you've got people who love music, who aren't afraid to dip out of a specific genre, just vibing and having as much fun as possible with a group of people from all over the world, all different backgrounds and whatnot. So I'm incredibly lucky, to go back to your original question, to play for Gumball 3000, and big up Max and all of the team there. It's an absolute pleasure to work with all you guys.
When you're playing with that kind of crowd, did you find that they really did let loose and have a party? Because I did a corporate thing last year, and like similar thing. There's a lot of wealthy people in the room, but what I tend to find was there was pockets of people having a great time, but other people literally were there to network, because they're networking with other people that they could sign $1 million pound contracts with. Do you know what I mean? And that's the only time these guys are in a room together. So did you find that was the case, or was it literally like they just let loose and party?
I think, like, from my perspective, and obviously not being in their position, because I'm not a wealthy business owner or a celebrity who can go off and do the Gumball rally of my own accord.
I was going to ask that, but we'll go there in a minute.
I think they choose to do the rally as an escape for a week, and to enjoy themselves, and to kind of be amongst similar people, in that they are successful and open-minded, adventurous people, because the rally is a tough thing to do. It's not all just parties. Like, it is quite a hard challenge at the same time. And they do that so they can let their hair down and really just relax and be themselves. So even in the case of, like, you've got, say, Usher's in the club, like, as he was on the Japan rally, like, the way that I see him interacting with the Gumballers is just on a level. Like, we're all here, we've got common ground, we're on the Gumball together. There's this incredible community spirit amongst all of the Gumballers, and so it's not a case of everyone's trying to do business or take a picture or whatnot. They are just there to enjoy each other's company, and it really does put you on a level footing. Like, there's not like a hierarchy there. It's not like such and such in team 24 can't go and chat to this person in team 60 for whatever reason. No, if you're on the Gumball, you go over and say hi, like, and it's not a thing. Like, it's really, really cool like that. And it's one of the few situations that I've ever been in where it really is just true
just good
freedom
vibes,
to go and
good
have
energies.
good vibes with whoever you see, because you have got that common and unique bond of being on the Gumball, which is something that almost nobody gets to do.
Except Andy P, of course.
As I said,
Andy P,
incredibly
mine
lucky
too,
to be part of that.
I feel like that bit can easily get lost. Like, going back to what you said about like Usher's in there and he's just mingling and chatting away, like, because of the way people are perceived with fame and success. Like you say, they're just in a room same way and just on a level like any other person would be. Like, they're still human at the end of the day. Like,
But that's it. Like, I mean, Afrojack's done the rally a million times. Bun B's done it a whole bunch of times, and they are both there on the rally as like just good characters. They've both won the Spirit of Gumball Award, which is the award given to the people who kind of most enter into what Gumball's all about, which is the camaraderie, etc. and whatnot. And they've both won it just because they go there and they have a great time, they enjoy it, they make the most of it, they meet new people, and leave a lasting impact on the people that they've interacted with. So it's a wicked thing in that respect, and that's why the vibes are so good.
It's kind of like a little secret club, isn't it? The Gumball. It's got little secret vibes going on over there. I would not like I'm ever going to be able to afford to go on one, but I'd love to see what's going down behind them closed doors.
Yeah, but it's nothing that's. I mean, there are some crazy stories.
I bet there
real
is.
crazy stories. but like the thing that really stays with me just is the great people that you get to meet and the good vibe that everyone's on, and like the staff, the people who run Gumball and work with Gumball, like they're so incredible. Like the team that Max has hired and works with, they're like a family in of themselves and just the nicest people. And it just breeds this whole incredible atmosphere because they're incredible and lovely. They've done a fantastic job at organizing it. The people that Max has allowed to be on the rally is a fantastic mix. It's run by someone, Max, who's incredibly charismatic, interested in everybody, takes the time to really get to know you and hang out with you. It's just like you just got all of these positive energies coming together, and so it just does create something very special.
What is the criteria for the Gumball then? Is it like a handpicked thing, or is it a case of if you can afford it, you can apply, or like? Well, I've always wondered, like, how is the?
Well, I think there's always more people who apply for it than could possibly go on the rally, because they can't have an unlimited amount of people. So that I think there is a degree of selection, but there isn't like any criteria, so to speak. I mean, I'm just talking about my understanding of it. This definitely is not the way that it's done. But all I do know is that if there was a criteria, I could not possibly tell you what it was, because the mix of people is just so diverse and special.
I think
a money thing.
I think it would be hot, but the Gumball must be tough, man. Because like my back hurts driving to London or driving to Birmingham from Manchester, so I can only imagine. And these sport cars, like, they're semi-uncomfortable, some of them.
Oh, absolutely. You get the guys doing it in the classic cars, and we've had a few people doing it in particularly special older cars, and you chat to them at the end of the days, and they've really put in a shift. It's not been comfortable for them at all.
You're talking about like 8, 9, 10 hours driving in
seriously,
bucket seats.
exactly.
Like,
exactly. So some people see it as a challenge, and they choose to do it in less comfortable cars. But then you'll see them the next year, and they'll be doing it in in a Rolls Royce or something, just to have that comfort.
Set them comfort levels up a bit.
Yeah,
chauffeur-driven Maybach.
But I mean, if for a lot of people, it's the trip of a lifetime, and so if you are a big car enthusiast, and this is your favorite ever vintage rally car of all time, and you've managed to strike up a deal with whoever owns it to kind of do a project where you're going to be driving it across, for example, next year's in the States, and that's what you do, and you achieve that, and that's been your goal. What an incredible story to tell. Like it doesn't need to be something that's comfortable, and the Gumball isn't comfortable, but the best things always involve a degree of discomfort.
Go on, Dubs, just going to say something.
I saw a tweet. I'm going to just bring the tweet up now. I saw a tweet earlier this week, which I think is an amazing conversation to have, but it actually ties in with what I'm about to ask you. Have you ever DJed for one of the Gumball parties and one of the celebrities been like, "Can I have a go?"
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, I've seen this tweet.
So that's where I'm going. This is an amazing segue. Sorry if I say so myself, but yeah.
I'm trying to think if anyone has done that. Do you know what? I think everyone is so respectful of each other in that situation, and everyone's so I don't really know what the word is. Like you just on the same level that they wouldn't impose. They wouldn't be like,
won't even bother asking.
I am such as, like, they would not they would come up and say, I am, let me have a go. They know that in doing that it would put an awkward situation, so they wouldn't bother doing it. But if someone can DJ, then there would be no stress in doing that for sure.
Let's go.
And like obviously, like when Bumby's partying, obviously we're going to play his records. He might jump on the mic and do something. Like Giggs did the rally, so obviously we were dropping Giggs records.
Sick. Giggs went on it, yeah.
Yeah, he did it. He did the first leg, so from London to Italy 2 years ago.
Oh, Giggs getting involved as well. That's sick.
Yeah, he did it with Buck.
Okay.
Yeah, shouts to Buck. So the tweet I saw, big ups to Logic UK, right? It came up.
I seen this one. Go on.
Which I thought was interesting. The question was, if a very popular DJ came to your gig as an attendee and asked you if they could jump on the decks only when the crowd starts getting hype, would you let them?
It really depends, you know. Like I'm all about the party. So if like let's say for example, just taking it because we've led on from Gumball, when Afrojack comes on to DJ after us, the whole energy in certain places, the whole energy can change and it will go absolutely nuts. One of the best DJs I've ever seen play.
He's sick.
Can play any genre, technically incredible, and his presence in front of a crowd is phenomenal. Like I'm in awe of the guy whilst I'm watching him. So if he stood next to me and he goes, yeah, come on, let me play for a little bit. Like I, being a promoter myself as well, and always wanting what's best for the crowd, I would be like, yes, let's go back to back. Come on, let's play. Let's do something.
Yeah.
And it would be amazing for the crowd. The energy would go up. It'd be cool for me. Everybody's a winner. So like, I don't really see the problem.
Are you, Dubs?
What are you saying, Stylus? What are you saying?
It depends, man. Like, it depends on the situation. I'm quite protective over my sets. So it depends if I'm in my vibe and I'm doing my thing, then I want to semi-finish my set. But like Andy said, like if there's an opportunity where someone can jump on and you can do a little back-to-back and create something special, like I'm semi-game for that too. Like I think it just depends what mood I'm in on the day.
Yeah, there's so many different factors.
There's so many different scenarios that you can like factor into
that's
that.
the problem.
I could be having a bad day and I'm not on it.
Well, not only that, I can't really think any DJ that I look up to and think, yeah, you're a proper sick, like legend of a DJ. I can't really picture them doing that. So like, because we must have all had it where you're DJing and just a random person comes up and is like, oh, I'm a DJ, can you let me have a go? Now that's happened to
we've all heard that one.
Yeah.
With that energy, I'm like, absolutely not. Like, if you're a DJ, you should know better. Like, I'm not going to anyone's party and saying, oh, I know I'm a bit licked, but I'm a DJ. Like, can I just jump on and like, if I'm not booked for it, I'm not going to try and impose myself.
Well, it goes back to what Andy said about the Gumball. Like, the artists are not, like, they know, like, the respect is already there. They're not going to come up and just ask. Same way a DJ that is a DJ would know better than to come up and really, like, I'm like, any of us, we're not going to, unless it's obviously your homie and you're like in the booth together catching a vibe, you're not going to approach a DJ in the booth like, oh, let me spin a couple of tunes. Like,
I think personally, if they're not on the lineup, so let's just say, like, all right, Jazzy Jeff turns up at the party.
Oh yeah,
he comes to the booth.
I'm getting on. Take over, mate.
No, but I wouldn't. If he's like, yo, can I jump on? Especially if it's at the point where I've just been working my ass off to get everyone to the pinnacle. Like Andy said, like, at the most, if you're jumping on, we can go back to back. But like, I love DJ. Like, I just love DJing, innit? So as much as I am there for the party, and I want the crowd to have the best time that they can. If I'm DJing, I want to be in control of the best time that they can have. So I don't think I'm going to be like, yeah, sure, jump on. I'm like, cool, I'm on right now, but we can go back to back. Like Jazzy Jeff, yeah, I'll go back to back with Jazzy Jeff. But if he's not on the lineup, I'm not sacrificing my set for him to jump on when I've put the groundwork in to get it to that point. Does that make sense?
No, I totally agree with you, Dubl. I think it just depends who it is and what situation it is. Like, there is too many factors, because, like, if I'm in the type of party, which I know you would also kill, Dubl, where I'm playing up front UK urban music to a crowd that's eating it up. Like, I know nobody could do it better than what I'm doing right now. So why would I bother letting anyone else jump in on that set to do exactly what I'm doing? When I know that they're going to go on and play the same or similar songs that I'm going to do in a way which will get the crowd hype, and they're already at that point. No, there's absolutely no way I'm going to let them go on. Of course I'm not. Like, are you mad? Like, I'm gonna eat all that up.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a different setting where it's not necessarily genre specific or whatnot, and if Jazzy Jeff's in the booth, is unlikely to be genre specific. You're likely to be in a kind of more open setting where the crowd's just there or whatnot. And if they can bring a different dynamic and a different energy through coming on, then I think it can work. And I wouldn't mind kind of passing up my set. Same way that if, like, a big rapper walked into the booth, which happens in London in certain places, of course I'm gonna let them jump on and do what they want to do, because that's good for everybody, and that situation doesn't come around very often.
I think doing like a performance, jumping on and doing a performance, I'd agree with. Like, yeah, cool. 50 Cent's in the club. Like, you want to jump on the set and do a performance? Like, I'm not going to turn that down. But I don't necessarily know how I'd feel if he was like, let me take over. Let me do the rest of the night. Like, let me DJ.
Yeah.
If 50 Cent came in and said, let me DJ for the rest of the night?
I don't know how I'd feel, bro.
I'd be scared, bro. 50's a scary guy, man.
Wait a second. He came to Tup in Newcastle, right? And did
I remember this.
I can't remember who the DJ was, but you have to talk to them about that. Get whoever was playing that night. I assume it must have been Play or Jax.
Or Joe. Yeah. Oh, we need to find out. We need to find that out.
Yeah, find out who it was and get them on the podcast.
So I tell you what. And DJ'd.
Pardon?
I don't think he did.
No. Just an example of 50 being in the club and being around him, and I'm sure it would be interesting to observe how that interaction was in a small club setting, because Tup's tiny.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tup's very intimate, man. That was so 50 walks in with his 20 burleys, like, hey, let's go. Fair play.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on. You carry on.
I was going to say you should do a podcast with Matt from Love, though. I would love to hear that.
That would be a shout. That would be a shout still.
Yeah, the amount of stories.
We've only ever really had DJs on. Like, we did speak about bringing on, like, I don't know, like club managers or like other promoters and people within the game that aren't like DJs. Like, we do want to open it up and speak to some more characters.
I think you just need to have someone who's got an understanding. So, for example, like say you had Hanif on. Hanif is an incredible DJ with legendary status in the kind of R&B world, back in the day in particular. But he's also an incredibly established event promoter of all types, concerts, right down to doing student nights and whatnot. All right, the most successful student night, I think, in the country over the past 15 years.
That's crazy.
So you've got him, then you've got Matt Lovedo, who's not a DJ himself, but loves music and always took a huge interest in DJ culture. So it's like he would understand everything that you're talking about.
Matt gets it. Matt gets it, defo. Where is Matt these days, man? I've not spoken to him for years.
Matt owns a pub in London.
Snap!
Yeah, it's married, got a child as well. So he's doing well. Very happy.
It's funny. The first time I met Matt was in a terminal, I think, in Gatwick Airport. I was waiting for a flight, and this guy comes up.
This story.
This guy comes up, and he's proper flustered, and his phone battery's dead, and he sees I'm sat there, and I'm waiting to fly out to Greece to do a show with Miss Dynamite, and he's sat there, and basically he's like, "Oh, look, I'm really sorry, but do you mind if I use your phone, because I've got to call someone who's meant to be on this flight, but they're not here, and the takeoff is in like 25 minutes or something." And yeah, that's fine. And so he takes my phone, dials it in, but he dials in Miss Dynamite's number. So he obviously dials in the number. And when he presses call, it comes up on my screen as Miss Dynamite. So he's like, why have you got her number? And then obviously, like, he has the quick call, and then he finds out she's stuck in traffic about an hour away. He finishes the call. And then we have the conversation about why I've got her number stored. And obviously, like, I'm doing the show with her in Greece.
Mad.
But it turns out he was the booker for the show. So he was the one that sorted the show out for the club. Crazy. And he was coming out as well, because it was like a Lovedo association type show. So yeah, that was how I met. That was actually a really good show as well.
That's a cool story.
That is a sick story.
It was proper funny, man. Proper funny. Yeah. Wicked show. Awesome.
So what's the plan for you then, Andy? After lockdown, are you still tying into these? Are you still going to be doing the events? Are you going to carry on with the visuals? Like, are you looking forward to getting back out there and playing in the clubs? Well,
it's the open. It's an interesting time for me this year, really, because I didn't really shout about it too much. Dubl came down a couple of times, but wouldn't have really known about it if it wasn't kind of in his area. But I was running a student night in Hertfordshire, a venue called the Forum, which is a massive venue, like 2,500 capacity. And I used to run every Wednesday there, and then I used to do an urban night there, kind of either monthly or twice monthly, called All the Way Up. And for the past, when I quit my job, when I was working not as a DJ, the thing that was putting me back into that about 4 years ago was to start this Wednesday night at this venue. And so for the past 4 years, I've been running, 40, maybe as many as 50 student nights a year in Hertfordshire, which is, because the venue's so big, it would involve running a team of up to kind of like 100, maybe even more than that, students. And then I had like 2 or 3 people working for me who were kind of more involved and whatnot. And we had some incredible events there. We put on every artist you could think of. And I made some brilliant friends with a lot of the students. There's some really great people there, and I'm still in touch with a lot of them. But this year, in January, decided to kind of knock those events on the head in Hertfordshire. So for me, it was a decision to focus on DJing. So this year, and from kind of January onwards, has been me kind of trying to refocus on just DJing on itself.
I was going to say, you can tell he's like 90 DJ videos later.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's funny that it's kind of crossed with the time that it has. I had some wicked things lined up for the summer. I was going to do a lot of traveling, but that obviously all got cancelled. So I was just trying to think of ways to kind of just let people know that I'm out here. I'm a good DJ. I'm a little bit different. I can do these things, and just kind of pitch myself on social media in a slightly different way. So that's why I did the videos. Like I do plan to carry them on because people are enjoying them, and I do think it gives a good platform for promoters to see me, for clubs to see me, for brands to see me, etc.
100%.
And so yeah, just looking to kind of collaborate with certain people or platforms or content providers in the future on some kind of video based projects. But I need to be able to get the format right. For example, talking about all of the problems they're having with YouTube. If that's not something that I can pursue, then I need to make sure that if I'm looking to do projects with people, that there is somewhere that I can put them out. So it's just a case of kind of feeling things out still. I know I can make cool 1 minute videos for Instagram, and Instagram doesn't have a problem with me sharing them. But there's lots more formats that these things can be shared in. So I just need to explore which ones work and which ones don't.
Going back to what you said about the events, then, like, I feel like, especially with the scale and the size of the events that you guys are doing, I know we've done stuff up here, but I feel like when you're so tied into something like that, it's so easy to forget, like, not forget the DJ side of it, but there's so much graft and so much power and energy goes into building these kind of things. Like the DJ side of it, semi does take a little bit of a hit. Like even when we did Jam and we've done with Get Loose and everything else, the DJ stuff kind of came secondary, but not like on purpose. The grafters kind of took over that, and then you have to kind of like you say, just re-engage and show people that you are a lit DJ and like you are doing this. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was
not
it.
Only that, but on the nights. Sorry,
go on.
Sorry, Andy. Let me just add to that. On the night, if you're a promoter, when it comes to the night of the event, you can't DJ because you're running everything. You're having to make sure front of house is all good. You're having to make sure everything, especially if you've got artists coming as well.
Yep.
If you're the one with the relationship to the artist, you've got to make sure that when they arrive, everything's in place, that they're what they need. And if you're DJing, you can't do all of that stuff. So yeah, I feel like as a promoter, the DJ side definitely gets neglected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, definitely at my own nights, I would always make sure that I DJ'd, particularly because like I knew all the students there. They knew I run the nights. We had a good following. People were appreciative of what we were doing there, so they liked me. They liked me as a DJ as well, so I'd always make a point of DJing, but I would never DJ as much as I wanted to. I mean, fortunately, I was in a great position where there was a couple of DJs coming through at the university. There's a guy called Quam's Original and another guy called DJ Arians, and they both came through. And I mean, Quam's is incredible at doing what he does, and he taught me a lot. And
he's sick.
Arians also, he was kind of learning as he was going along and got to the point where he was a sick DJ, and now he's doing his thing. Quam's, in my opinion, will be the Afrobeats DJ for the UK. He'll be flying the flag at some point.
100.
And so like it was quite easy for me to pass on the DJing duties to those guys, which actually made it less painful for me to not be able to DJ as much as I'd like to on the nights.
It's a tough one, isn't it, when you're a DJ yourself and you're doing events? It's tough,
for
man.
Sure.
Leaving your baby in someone else's hands.
Well, that's it. But I felt the responsibility. Like this is a university night, so like I need to be giving the DJs from the universities an opportunity to go and do their thing, and like it's particularly when there's someone as good as Quams and Arians, that they needed to be able to showcase that to everyone. I'm doing a disservice. There's another DJ called Jams who's brilliant as well, and he's got a good following, and he's in particular at the moment he started doing well at the university, and there's a few others, so I don't want to we
won't go into this one again
on those two.
Do you find when you're DJing on the nights that you run, like your concentration takes a bit of a hit because of everything else? That's kind of because I do the same with, especially with Get Loose and Jam. We would play, we would promote, we'd do all the like the back work and everything else, but then on the night, like I feel I'm not really not performing, but the focus is like I always come off set thinking maybe I could have been a little bit better, or like you just
100%.
You know the ones, innit?
Some of my set, I mean they're good, but for me they're shit, and I'm just like like it's jarring because
Yeah, it is.
I've put in all this hard work to get this incredible crowd out there, and it is, in my opinion, the crowds we used to get were best crowds in the UK that you could play kind of upfront urban music to. Sorry, shouldn't be saying urban music anymore.
Can't use that word now.
Yeah, no. I sincerely apologise for that because I'm not trying to get the terms wrong. But I guess black music and the crowd that we were getting was incredible, and I had this opportunity to play to this crowd, but then I was passing it on to other DJs because, or I was not representing myself as well as I should do. Because I was just my head was just wrapped up in.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, like what's happening downstairs. If I go and play for an hour, yeah, it'll be amazing and I'll enjoy it. But there might be something that happens downstairs that needs my attention.
Yep.
And
it feels like a great idea at the time, doesn't it? Before the event gets there, you're like, I'll play for an hour. It's great. The night comes, the club's full. You're running about. You're like, I don't even know. I don't know right now.
well, my first ever experience of that was the reason that I first got to play at Milkshake, Ministry of Sound, was because Martin was so busy sorting, like when I first started there, as I was just kind of running guest lists and helping them fly and poster and whatnot in my first year of university. Then that they saw I was a good DJ. Well, Martin thought I was a decent DJ and kind of got me in to do a couple of sets. And on the night, they'd end up being longer than they should have been because Martin was just stressed. He was doing everything. He was running around, catching up with people, sorting out the front door, making sure the DJs in the other room were cool. Basically running around with Hanif, sorting out every aspect of the night. So he could come on and jump on, but I could see how flustered he was. And he'd come over and he'd be like, Andy, do you mind going on for an extra half an hour, an extra hour? And I could see how stressed he is. And then
sweating.
Well, that's it. And even when he jumps on in those situations, I can see that, and this is me talking about back then, like when he was really involved. So like from like 10 to 8 years ago or whatever, I could see he was just like, he hasn't had time to think about it. So it's like he's stressed whilst he's DJing, which shouldn't be the case. Like he's spent the whole week working his absolute bollocks off just to make the club busy. But then he's handing it off to me. And at that point, I can DJ, but I'm not as good as he is. Like I'm not giving the crowd the same service, but because he's just so busy and stressed and doing everything, he can't detach and just play to the crowd in the full, give them the full experience what they should be getting.
I hear that.
You got to choose like one or the other, really, innit?
You got to choose one or the other.
You got to choose. If you're promoting, I feel like that's the way. You've got to choose one or the other. If you're really promoting, or do what you do, stylist, with your events, and maybe handle like the first hour and a half. Just do the warm up and then let.
That was the way I got around it. I started playing first. That was my way to get around the stress and.
No.
That was my way of doing it. It worked for me.
No. That was just to clarify for everybody listening. That was your way to avoid the nonsense and the insecurity of being on the door at the start of the night where it's quite slow and nobody's there and you've got to sort everything out.
My events aren't slow at the start.
Hey, there we go.
To be fair, the first couple I would play, like obviously when we did Jam, there was 3 of us, so it was fine. Like it's in good hands if G2's playing, if Fusion's playing, it's fine.
Of course.
But then with Get Loose, that was a solo project, so we built a little team, and same like with what you guys did. We found 2 local DJs that were shellings and got them involved, and they could be trusted. But a lot of the people bought into the band because they liked me as a DJ and the way I was doing my things. It's like if I didn't play, it just didn't feel right. So I remember the first one I played like a main set, and I remember afterwards just thinking that was just shocking. Like that is just not the normal way I would shell a crowd, like because I'm distracted and I'm thinking about what's going on and the venue's full. I'm like, I want everything to be perfect. So the next time around, I was like, do you know what? Like my missus runs the door. She's been doing all our events for like the last don't know how many years. She knows how stuff runs. She has relationships with the club like owners and stuff like that. So she's cool. And then my staff can run that. I'll play first when there's maybe not so much to worry about, and I can warm it up and get it ready I can just pass pass the baton and let the guys do the thing. So that was the way I kind of tackled the stress in the end.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Like, and
I like a warm up as well, man. Warm ups are the best.
Yeah,
Warm-ups are so much fun, man.
So
I miss the clubs, bro. I'm getting to that point now. I'm like, oh, I really miss the clubs.
You got the hits now.
Trust me.
Oh, it's depressing. That's a love sulk.
Would you let Jazzy Jeff take your warm up set then?
Nah.
I'd let Jazzy Jeff warm up for me. Yeah.
Oh Christ.
If I'm doing the whole night. If I'm doing the whole night and he DMs me and he's like, yo, Dub, I'm coming down to the club. Can I jump on for a bit? Yeah, you can do like 10 to 11, bro. That's cool.
Oh, imagine. Ruthless.
I'm just thinking like where the
disrespect that I just put out there. Yes. I am joking, by the way. So
I can't co-sign that one. I cannot co-sign that at all.
I'm thinking like where the event stuff is going to go now. Like with the whole, like none of us really know what's going to happen in it going forward. So it's I've seen a lot of people are kind of doing bunches
I think there's going to be a lot of power to the people who have started kind of social media movements during this time. For example, like just quickly going back to Hearts Never DJs I work with. I used to work with a guy called Funks, who's a wicked DJ, but also, I mean, he does a million things, like in kind of the Afrobeat scene and UK music scene. But he used to DJ with me every single week and made it a pleasure because he's a great DJ, great person to hang out with. And he also had brilliant stories for me when we were going to and from the venue, when we were hanging out there. So having him as one of the extra DJs was an absolute pleasure. And he's started, along with a couple of his friends, P Montana. I'm not sure who else he runs this with, but he started a Instagram channel called I think it's called Ghana.
Is that the one where they're doing all the? I've seen them all doing the dances
in the studio doing the dances.
Yeah.
So basically, a celebration of Ghanaian culture and music in the UK via this Instagram channel, and I'm sure they have other media channels and whatnot. And like they've in a very short space of time created a brilliant buzz on with that project. And this is one of many projects that they work on, which are kind of similar. Ranging from putting out music, their labels, working with bigger kind of festivals and organizations such as what's the big Afrobeats festival?
Afro Nation,
like they work with Afro Nation, etc. And they've created this kind of fan base behind this media channel. And from my perspective, like, because that's kind of got a buzz behind it, if they started putting on an event now, it could definitely work. And I think that during this downtime, people who have spent the time to build a loyal fan base based on whatever they're putting out have the power to then say, look, you've enjoyed this over the lockdown period, let's go and do it in real life. And I think you'll see a lot of those types of things popping up, and the same with the DJs. Like I won't talk about the big ones in the States who are going mad, but there's a house DJ in the UK who started going crazy with the streams.
Is it Continental?
That's it. Yeah. GT Continental.
Yeah, he was going in.
Whatever. Yeah. So he smashed it. So like, I mean, obviously he was doing big raves and whatnot beforehand, but now he could probably put on his own big rave with as the headline, with other people supporting him in a big sized venue, because house fans are very loyal, and go and do that. So I think you will see some new bits and pieces from that are just kind of benefiting from the hard work and loyal fan base they've created during this lockdown period.
I was going to say that the people that have really actually been super productive and used that time to like evolve and like you say, build a movement that will have like life after all this shit settles down. You've done, Andy, what you've done, like your graft mentality, mate, through this whole situation has been, I don't even know how you do it, mate. Like that is, it's getting ridiculous now.
I've got two things to say. I've got two things to say to that. First one, mate, you started like a radio station, studio business, and did all sorts of madness. So like, obviously you do understand it because
Don't
you've been doing the same thing.
don't flip this on me.
But the other thing I was going to say, and I've discussed this with a bunch of people, is like is quite situational. It's not like I was like, nah, fuck all the other DJs or fuck everybody. I'm going to go out and outwork everyone during this time.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in a situation where I was living on my own. We're in full lockdown, so you can't see anybody.
True.
What am I going to do? I'm going from DJing from between 5 to 12 times a week to doing nothing and just being sat in my flat. If I don't do something, I'm going to go mad.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do whilst I'm here that's good for my business? I can make mix videos and put them out. So I was doing that every day, and that turned into a hustle, which was a good thing, and it kept me busy and kept me sane, and it was progressive, and I enjoyed the fact I was learning. Like, I've learned how to use Ableton now. I didn't even have that before lockdown. I've learned how to edit videos. I didn't have Premiere Pro before lockdown. I've learned how to do a green screen. Like, I've learned a lot of stuff, which has kept me kind of staying and going. But like, if I wasn't in this situation, if I had a family, like, so for example, my twin brother's got a little boy, a wife, and he's got a little girl on the way as well. If I was him during lockdown, and the way I supported my family was to be a DJ, so I had no work and I was at home, and my son was also at home, and maybe my wife was at home, or I lived with my mum, or I lived with my dad, or I lived with my uncle or my friends, I would have spent that time. Yes, I would have done some productive work, but I would have spent that and seen it as a great opportunity, a priceless opportunity to spend quality time with my family, which is essential.
Yeah, I found, you know what, especially in the start of lockdown, I've had breakfast with my son almost every single day. And do you know how rare that is? Because when I'm playing out like 4 or 5 times a week, like, and you know what it is, over this time we've been DJing as well, our bodies are conditioned to be awake at night. So like 1 till 3 in the morning is when my brain is most creative. So even if I'm not working, I'm not asleep. Mm-hmm. Which means I'm not up at 7 in the morning, even if I haven't worked the night before. So on a normal day, normal times, like, my son's up and at school by the time I'm kind of waking up at like 10, 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
But this lockdown time has been amazing because I've kind of not completely done it, but I've managed to shift my body clock. So I'm not going to bed at 5 in the morning. Instead, it's maybe like midnight or 1. But actually I'm getting up. No, but for real, I'm getting up in the morning. I'm making my son breakfast, and we've been having breakfast every day for the last, like, 5, nearly 6 months, which is amazing. Not just breakfast, obviously. Then we're able to do stuff in the morning together and all of that stuff. It wouldn't have happened if this whole pandemic thing hadn't happened. It wouldn't have been a thing.
Exactly. So like, it's not necessarily that I'm trying to do anything crazy. It's just that was the best way I could use my time. But if I, like you're saying, if I had a son and I got to do what you were doing every morning with my son, then that's what I would have been doing. Don't get it twisted. Like, there would be 10 videos on my timeline, and probably my wall wouldn't be green. Do you know what I mean?
I was about to say the same thing. I was going to say, if I was in the opposite, if I didn't have a family, I'd probably, like you, would have gone mad and painted my whole apartment chroma green.
I'm here for it, man. I've enjoyed the sleeping side of it. Me, like, go in bed at I'm in like you say, midnight. I'm in bed beforehand. I would eat breakfast at 5, 6 a.m. before I got in bed. I was eating my breakfast before I went to bed. That's what is going on. Anyway. Yeah. Hopefully, I've got a couple of bookings in the next few weeks, so I'm excited, man.
No need to boast, mate. Calm it down.
It's not
reintegrating. I could be doing Gumball. Do you know what I mean?
Not this year.
No, I feel like there's a couple little bars and stuff are starting to move and shake around here. It's not. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what to expect. So it's going to be interesting, man. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited.
I've done a few bits, and they're interesting. Like the brunch parties I've been doing, I'm not allowed to get the crowd too excited, so it's a case of kind of getting feet tapping and heads nodding. And do you know what? I still find that rewarding. I've enjoyed it. And then some of these are long sets, like 6 hours plus, and like I'm playing house music, and I'm
5 minutes a song.
Yeah. Big up Martin and my friend Luke for running those. But they've been they've been rewarded. It's still like, even though the fact that people aren't dancing, just to see people kind of vibing and getting onto it and maybe kind of singing along a little bit until I have to tell them to stop singing along by changing the track, like is quite rewarding. And then like I've done Louis, the promoter who runs Milkshake with Hanif, I mean, the best promoter in London. He put on a socially distanced event at Prince of Wales in Brixton that Martin and I played at with a guy called DJing, and it was good. Like the music was low, but just kind of seeing the smiles on people's faces where they hear that song that they've wanted to hear in a club since lockdown started, but never have. Like, even though you're doing it at low levels, you still get that kind of vibe. So I have enjoyed the sets that I've had back for sure, even though they are totally different to what they were like before.
Kind of adds a little bit of freedom as well, doesn't it? Because I did a similar one. I did like a reggae. It was like a reggae bingo brunch, right? So obviously it's like reggae and bashment themed. We had a game of bingo in the middle. There was all tables across the venue. It's usually a venue where it's a big dance floor, but they put tables all in. And yeah, it was just like, it was nice because it was reggae and bashment themed. Obviously I had the brief that I was sticking to, but because it was like a sit down thing, I could just draw for like other tunes you wouldn't necessarily hear in a rave or wouldn't do well at the high energy part of the night. Even going in more with like the rhythms, doing more juggling and going further in with the rhythms. Do you know what I mean? Like
a couple of them rhythm joints that never see the light of day.
Yeah, exactly.
I can throw these in now.
Yeah, pulling up them ones. It's kind of nice being able to throw in like your flavor to the thing. I think it's a good stepping stone to getting club DJing back to where it should be, where DJs are really adding their flavor and their songs into the set, because I feel like up until lockdown, it was just a big mess of, I'm talking generally here, but it was just a big mess of everyone just playing the 40 most popular tunes. No one was really stepping out and playing the risky songs or putting too much of their flavor in. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like now it's kind of, this is a good middle place for DJs to get used to, and the customers as well get used to hearing like an obscure tune in between certain hits and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, you're right.
I'm here for it, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a good thing. Like, I definitely made some selections in all of the parties or whatever I've done so far where I wouldn't typically have done that. So yeah, you're definitely right. It's a good thing for sure.
Oh. I got my crates sorted out then, bro, because I've not touched them fuckers since middle of March. They're an absolute I'm scared, man. There's so much music in there. They're semi-organized, but even for like the year leading up to lockdown, I was saying I'm going to sort them out. Now we're coming out of this, and I've still not even touched them, bro. Like, I feel like when I'm looking for songs, I'm just not going to. I'm going to start forgetting names. I'm not going to know it. I need to prepare accordingly.
Yeah.
It's the most boring task of all time, though, isn't it? That's the problem.
It is. Bloody hell. Well, Andy, I'm so glad we got you on, man. Like, flipping.
Oh no, thanks.
We've known each other for ages. You and Dubl know each other. Like, you're one of the nicest guys on the circuit. You and Martin, like you two are like brothers, man.
Not with this skin color, no. I don't think we quite hang. This is the problem, you know. Like, look at that. Like, it's been what, a heat wave. Look how untanned I am. It's mad.
I bet are you one of them that goes like bright red?
Hey, but I don't even bother trying. Like, there's no chance. Like, if I go out in the sun, like, I'm getting burnt. That's just a fact. So
you guys have had some serious decent weather down there, man.
What, has it been bad up for it? What is it that? You're not that far away. It's like 3 hours.
Ours is on and off, man. We'll have 30 degrees, and then it'll go down to like 10 the next day.
Oh, Matt, yeah, it's been chaos hot.
It's so backwards, man. Like, our weather's a mess, but you know, England, mate, we're used to it, I guess. So, but yeah, man, thanks for coming on, Andy.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and nice one for doing this podcast for the DJs. It's definitely something which I know a lot of people are enjoying. I've been listening to the majority of them, and I'm looking forward to checking out Shorty Blitz's ones later today, and it's an honor to be on a lineup with people like Shorty Blitz, Martin Too Smooth, Christ.
This guy. But do you know what we've got to do now, Dubs? The target. We got to get Jazzy Jeff on, man.
Why not?
Have you got the plug there, Dubs? I know you got the plug.
Oh, I'm sure we can sort it. No, the Jazzy Jeff.
I get the email every 6 months about booking him off his manager. Though she'll email me all the time. Oh, he's available for Manchester.
But do you not remember Fresh Island? When we went to Fresh Island and I had the interview, everything was sorted. Yep. And basically we went backstage to do the interview. At the exact same moment, he got straight in his car and just drove off.
I remember walking.
I have it on video.
I remember.
I had the with me. And I was stood at the back of the car, just with his car just driving off, like in the video, driving off into the background. Like, everything was there. Wounded. And he just jumped in his car and fucked off.
Wounded.
But yeah. Oh, mate, it was, yeah. And the funniest thing about that is every single artist, bar one, did that to me on that trip. That was the only reason I went on the fucking trip, was because I had all these interviews booked.
And the one that didn't.
Artist, and yeah, the one
that didn't, you can't even use it.
One that we did manage to record, he was so licked during the interview that his team turned around and was like, "You can't use that ever."
Who was it?
Tim Westwood.
No.
I filmed that interview as well. I remember that would have been a game changer.
That was a great interview as well.
It was a great interview. It was.
He was talking smoke about a certain artist and but obviously I got some real talk out of him as well about why he was never supporting UK music in the early. I asked him about that. Bro, the answer he gave was like a really legit, oh, okay, that's actually a really sick answer. Like, it was a really, really good interview.
It was a good interview,
his
man.
His team watched it. I made a mistake because that was in the early days when I would allow people to dictate whether or not I put interviews out, because I allowed his team to see it. Usually now I'm just like, what happens in the interview happens. And if before I've edited it, if you want something taken out, we take it out. But once we've all left the building, that's it. It's my content and it goes out. So, but yeah, that was,
well, you should definitely do that interview again. I don't see why he wouldn't do it.
He won't do it.
No, he won't do it. Doesn't like him anymore.
No, I said basically, no, I don't think he does, bro, to be honest. I don't think he does like me, but I don't care.
Oh, dear.
But no,
So
basically, when his team blocked it, when they said to me, you can never put this out ever, I said, okay, well, I won't put it out if you give me a re-record date. But I'll be as flexible as possible, but let me come and re-record. And I think the reason that they didn't want it out was because he was so licked, basically. It was just after his pool party, at Fresh Island. So I think he'd have
that party looked messy.
Yeah, for about the next 12 months, I was constantly like, okay, when's the next date? When can we re-record? They're like, yeah, we're just busy. We're working towards the 10-year anniversary. We'll give you a date. Yeah. I just got bored of emailing them and hearing the same thing. We'll give you a date. I kind of took the hint, you're never getting a date to re-record. And then I actually saw Tim in person. I saw him in a club one time and I was like, bro, when are we redoing the interview? And
not letting it go.
You know what, dog? I'm not really on the interview thing anymore. I don't really want to do interviews with anybody. So I was like, cool, fuck this then. Can't be asked. So
that's a shame. I'd love to have seen that.
Yeah, it's a great interview. I don't mind. Maybe I'll send it to you. I'll keep it.
No, it's cool. If he doesn't want me to see it, I don't want to see it either. I only want to see things that people want me to see.
But, yeah, it was a good one. It's a massive shame, man, because it was a really great interview. But here's what it is.
Anyway, TalkOver Podcast.
Yes, hashtag TalkOver Podclart. Man, like DJ Andy P,
the legend.
And I was checking. I was going to test if he stopped smiling through the whole Podclart, and he didn't. He's kept a smile on for the whole 2 hours. Right, the legends are true. He doesn't ever stop smiling.
We didn't see one hand up.
Yeah, can do it just to finish. Just to finish the podcast.
See that one there? That special windy one for you there. That's an exclusive. That's a new thing.
Oh my days! Yo, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, guys. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Music. So Apple Podcasts, and the visuals will be up on YouTube as always, man. So yeah, you know what to do. Hashtag TalkOver Podclart. Hit us on Twitter. Follow the socials. All of that good stuff. Andy P, where can the people follow you, man? Plug yourself.
DJ Andy Purnell and everything.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Sick.
Go check me on TikTok. I do all the dances. I'm pretty sick.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh yeah, he's on you.
You're not on
Anyway,
TikTok, are you?
yeah, he's on there, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm big in the Spurs scene on TikTok.
Pushing numbers, this guy.
Spurs scene.
Anyway, until next time.
Peace.